In level 13, we have graduated the child from doing 2 by 1 multiplication. Let's review that quickly so we are all on the same page. If a child has done everything properly to this point, there should be no issue with a child doing this problem from the left and saying that that's 30 times 3, so let's hold it in our head as 90, but if the child can't hold it in their head, of course I allow them to write it down. And then 6 and 3 is 18 on this side, and put those things together and we should have 108. Should be very clear what it is. Okay, so let's do another one like that. Okay, so this time we're not going to write it down. We should have 280 and 35. A little harder to break because the 35 is made up of a 20 part and a 15 part. But this gives us our 280, this gives us our 315. Do you see how breaking is so important in terms of helping us understand our way around numbers? Alright, so if my child is to the point where they can understand how to assemble these things mentally in their mind without actually having to write down this component and this component, and maybe not having to write down this kind of breaking, then we're ready for 2 by 2 multiplication. And I'll say to the children, you know, you don't have to do anything here to solve this problem in your mind. You don't have to write a thing down. And they'll be like, wow, how do you do that? And I say, well, we call it the bow tie. We're going to look at this side first, then we're going to look for whichever one is the biggest inner cross, either this one or this one, and then we're going to do this. And the reason we're going to do that is because we're going to start from the biggest thing, and then the next biggest thing, and the next biggest thing, and finally the singles, so that the mind likes handling the progression of numbers mentally. So let's look here. What we're actually going to do with this problem is use a 9th grade algebra type algorithm to solve it. You'll see what I mean. Do you remember when you were in algebra and you did x plus y times z plus a, and you had to do this piece times this piece times this piece, this piece times this piece, this piece times this piece, and you had no idea why you would do that, or you know, why somebody would come up with it, but it was just what your teacher told you to do, and they called it FOIL, first, outer, inner, last, right? Well, what we're going to do here is apply the FOIL algorithm in what is essentially a 3rd and 4th grade multiplication problem. And it's going to look like this. Prior to this in Unopie, we have concentrated on the child understanding their 10 parts separately. So we're going to say that this is a 10 and a 3. And 18 is a 10 and an 8. So the first thing we're going to actually do is take our 10 times our 10. So we're going to do this leg. 10 times 10 is 100. Now we're going to look for the biggest inner cross, which is 10 times 8. That's 80. So far I've got 180. I'm keeping a running total mentally. Now I've got 30. So I had 180 plus 30. So that will make it 210. And then I've got 8 times 3, which is 24. So my total answer is going to be 234. See? We didn't need to write anything down. We simply needed to understand how place value could actually make this problem a little bit easier. If we needed to write it down, we would have written the biggest number first, which would have been this side. We would have written the next biggest number next, which would have been one of these, and then the other one of those, and finally the last piece, which would have actually been the singles. And we would have added it from the left and seen how it was structured. This is what we call the bow tie, and we use this approach in sets 13-9 through 13-18 to develop a child's number sense, and it can be done with a 3-digit, 3 by 2, 3 by 3, 4 by 4, it doesn't matter. We just need to understand where we are in our place value to attempt it.